start out on camera?
We are starting out live right now. This is Michael Emery. This is the M&S Show, episode number 3. I know that, Sarah, you want to say S&M, but we're not going to go there.
It just sounds so much better. Don't know why, but hi, Michael. How are you today?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Doing really well. I'm excited because we're on episode 3. We've covered a couple other episodes, but today we're talking about one that I think is such a sneaky, important product because I didn't realize how much good it was doing for a few weeks, and then I felt it. It's Sunrise. Again, part of the program. Do you want to tell us kind of how it comes into the system, the
It's our
Kyani
ninja
system as a whole?
product.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sure. I was just admiring my haircut. I got a haircut. So
It looks
all over.
really nice. Yeah.
You like that? Sarah was brushing her hair earlier, and I felt...
Like you needed hair?
Go ahead.
You need a razor to probably cut your hair, right?
Exactly. That's exactly what I need. Okay, so let me just get to the slides here.
Okay. And hopefully everyone has also seen our episodes on sunset, and we're going to be also doing one on the third product coming up very shortly. But the Sunrise is the one that you take in the morning, one that I took last. I was using Sunset for months and months and months, and then I said, okay, I'll try Sunrise. And now I don't think I could stop. But we'll get into why that is. Michael, we are looking at the slides now. Do you want to explain kind of how the Sunset or the Sunrise comes into the system?
It's confusing, you know, and that's a funny story. One of the bigger names associated with Kyani, I'm actually part of his downline, part of his team, Mike Akagi. He tells the story, and I think at some point he mentions that he was actually taking it wrong. He was taking the Kyani Health Triangle backwards, and he was taking Sunset in the morning, taking the fish oil capsules that we talked about in the last show. He was taking those in the morning, and he was taking the Sunrise in the evening. And the surprising thing is, I can't tell you how many people I've shared Kyani with, and they've done the exact same thing. I don't get it. So it's very funny because, you know, it's one of those things where it'll actually slow you down if you get it backwards. It's not going to do anything bad to your health, but the omega-3 is a natural nervous system depressant, and so it's going to bring you down. It's going to calm you down a little bit. We actually want the opposite. Most people, if you have a normal sleep schedule, you want the opposite. You want to get, you know, fired up in the morning. You want some clarity, some brain function happening there, right?
Yeah, I'm wondering if you did take the Sunrise at night, will it actually wake you up and keep you from being able to sleep?
It probably would for some people if they're sensitive to supplements. You know, everybody's body responds.
Yeah, I do feel like
everybody's body
following the system.
Yeah, everybody responds differently, and so, you know, it's not going to do any, you know, harm to somebody, but it may make it a little bit more difficult to sleep. But then again, you know, I mean, there are people that drink coffee before going to bed. I mean, I'm currently living in a culture where that's a very common thing. People want to go get coffee at like 7 or 8 o'clock at night. I'm looking at people going, "Estás loco? Are you crazy? You know, what do you think? Why are you gonna drink coffee at nighttime?" So, but I think that part of that is just part's cultural. Part of it is just a misunderstanding in terms of what nutrition does to our bodies, to our nervous systems, to our organs. So, and that brings us right around to the nutrition component of the Kyani Health Triangle. I wanted to take a moment, step back, and, you know, we're looking at this slide right now. We've got Kyani at the center of this triangle. On the bottom left, we have circulation. The bottom right, we have inflammation, and the top, we have nutrition. The last show, we talked about inflammation and how Kyani Sunset plays a powerful role in this. Today's show, where the star is, we're going to talk about nutrition and why people are not getting the adequate nutrition that they need, even though they may be going and buying vegetables and fruits. ranging in all kinds of different prices. Some people are, die-hard organic veggie, fruit, consumers. Other people are, just buy whatever's available at the nearest supermarket. And the irony is that in some of those cases, even though you might be buying organic, you still may not be getting the quality of nutrients that you believe that you're getting. Now, the benefit of buying organic is that you're theoretically reducing some of the pesticides, and you're also staying away from genetically modified organisms, which I believe is, a good thing to do until the science is clear on that. And we just don't have enough perspective on it. Is my perspective. We haven't seen the studies for tens of decades, if not a full century, of seeing what the long-term side effects are of using genetically modified organisms.
Right.
So. Right now, we're looking at the supplements and the supplement facts. What were we going to say?
Well, I was noticing in here that there are no, fillers, additives, anything like that. And one of the things that I like about Kyani is the fact that you're getting straight quality, the real deal. But also, a lot of Americans, if they're not, putting the wrong things in their body, they may be trying really hard. So for me, I'm just like everyone else, where I'm trying really hard to be healthy. And I'm trying to eat organic and no GMO foods, but sometimes we fall off the wagon. We go out to eat, we're probably eating GMO food sometimes. I'm eating really clean, but then every once in a while I might have fast food, or you put on a lotion that has a bunch of fillers in it. I feel like Kyani Sunrise and basically the system as a whole is almost combating that for me by having such a pure substance in your body, but it also is all the right substance. Fight off all of these external poisons that we're getting from the environment. Would you say that's the case?
Yeah, certainly. That's one of the bigger roles that Kyani plays, and that's the side of it. I guess I would consider that to be the antioxidant side of the Kyani formulations. And the major thing that we need to keep in mind is not only is the food that we're consuming, the water that we're consuming, affecting our bodies, but also the things, like you said, the things that we're applying topically, just putting stuff on our skin. I encourage everybody, go look at your aftershave, go look at the soaps that you're using, go look at the lotions, and you probably want to throw out anything that has a form of benzene in it, because that's a direct oil product, petroleum product, and do some research into that. You might find that there are some ties to leukemia, to other cancers. And those are kind of some hot topics to look into, be aware of. And if there's any risk of it whatsoever, I don't want it near my body. So it's up to you to make that decision. But I think that one of the best things we can do is to just be aware, and that's why I like to show the labels of the products here. And you can see with Kyani that there are no artificial, unnatural fillers. The only thing that you might see is xanthan gum, potassium sorbate, sodium benzoate, and stevia extract. Those are, preservatives, but they're nothing that's like anything to really worry about. The dosages of those are so small, but you'll see that there's nothing like high fructose corn syrup. You will see fructose that's naturally occurring in fruit. It's fruit sugar, and you see it in 9 grams. So what does the average can of soda have in it? It's like 50 grams of carbohydrates from high fructose corn syrup, which is not like sugar, which is not like fructose. So the ingredients here, they're high quality. They're also it's a premium blend that the average person does not have in their diet.
That I was going to ask that next is I know that this has the equivalent of many, many meals, and you're only taking an ounce. You're just taking a little ounce in the morning, but you're getting all of this that we're seeing on the slide, or the equivalent, that is. And I'm not sure how you can get that much in one little ounce. Would you say, Michael, could you get the same sort of effect if you were to eat very clean 3 meals a day?
Most likely not. That's a problem that we'll get into in the next slide. But if you want to look at the quantities, and the question is, well, if we're looking at Kyani Sunrise here being the equivalence of 8 apples, 80 ounces of sardines, 80 ounces of green tea, 96 cups of kidney beans, 14 cups of Swiss chard, 1 cup of beets, 7 cups of green peas, 173 cups of winter squash, 100 mushrooms, 46 cups of kale, 8 ounces of soy milk, 61 cups of avocados, 1 cup of bran flakes, 23 cups of carrots, 8 ounces of Alaska salmon, and an additional 50 milligrams of trace minerals that you could probably supplement or find through using sea salt or a natural salt.
Nobody's going to eat that in one day.
Nobody's going to. Exactly, nobody's going to. But at the same time, this is it's an analogy of or it's a comparison of what you would have to consume in order to get the sort of nutritional value that comes from the ingredients that are in Kyani Sunrise. Wow. So Kyani Sunrise is not a replacement for those, but it's saying that in the average person's diet, based upon the supplements, the premier and premium supplements that they're putting into this, or the ingredients that they're putting into the supplement, rather, that you'd have to go get these additional foods from your natural diet. I mean, it's easy to go get Swiss chard, right? But how easy is it to go find, wild Alaskan blueberries? It's kind of difficult to get. You can go to your grocery store and you can pick up blueberries. You may be able to pick up wild Alaskan blueberries at a specialty store or order them online, but in what quantities to actually make a difference. But then you can look at other things like grape skin extract, or mangosteen, or aloe vera leaf, acai, maki berry, ashwagandha extract, spinach powder. You can get it. You can get the spinach in your diet. You can probably get the broccoli and the kale, but to get the other ingredients that are so powerful that make up the Kyani Sunrise formulation, it's going to be super difficult to get that.
Right. Well, one thing, isn't it combined to be the perfect product to really help with certain things? Like for me, I noticed it helped balance sugar levels. I know it's supposed to help with hormone balancing, brain functionality. All of the product together is made to help you with these things, right? With sort of a balancing effect.
Yes, what you're going to find is that with the Kyani Sunrise supplement, most people are going to notice a major difference in cognitive function. They're going to notice a regulation in blood sugar. Many people that have started with Kyani Sunrise, and it works best when you use it with the Kyani Health Triangle, as we'll summarize this in the third part, because there's a critical factor that ties it all together, and that's really the Kyani Nitro FX and Nitro Extreme product. We'll get into that later. But what many people who have type 2 diabetes, that's a lifestyle disease for most people. Sure, there are certain situations where it's unavoidable, but for many people, simply by changing their diet and bringing in exercise, many people can reverse their blood sugar levels, reverse insulin issues. And so what we're seeing here is this is the anecdotal feedback from many people that have tried using Kyani Sunrise, is that many people were able to stop using their prescription medicines for type 2 diabetes, which right there, Kyani Sunrise pays for itself just in pure dollar cost. But also many people were able to reduce their usage of their prescription medicines for type 2 diabetes just by supplementing Kyani Sunrise. So there's some people that were you can't say cured, but they've no longer found a need for their medicine, and other people that have been able to reduce it. Now, obviously, you've got to check with your own primary care practitioner and your medical doctor and make sure that this is okay for you. But the elements that we're seeing here, and we're going to get into this in the next slide, we're going to see more and more why Kyani Sunrise addresses the issues that are cropping up within our nutrition supply, and this is a worldwide problem. So let's take a look at this next slide here. What we have, and this is actually a really outdated quote, but the Rio Earth Summit in 1992, that was, what, 23 years ago, give or take? They said that there's a deep concern over continuing major declines in mineral values in farm and range soils throughout the world. And what we've seen, according to some of the studies that I've shown here, if anybody's curious to know, I can provide some sources on this too. But in the approximately the last century, we've seen a decrease in vitamin and minerals in, or mineral quality of the soil by 72% in Europe, 76% in Asia, and approximately 85% in North America. And what's happening is there's a massive industry that's using what are referred to as NPK fertilizers. And these are synthetic fertilizers, and they're based off of nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium as the primary macronutrients. Now what this does, you've probably had this experience, and I'm 37 years old. I remember what it was like to go to a grocery store, buy an apple, and the apple would taste like an apple. Buy strawberries, the strawberries would taste like strawberries. I've noticed that there have been dramatic changes over the years, and food doesn't taste quite the way it used to taste. Have you noticed anything like that?
I have noticed it where you compare an organic versus non-organic, but then I feel, and that was just 10, 20 years ago, and now I also notice that the organic flavor has declined some, and I think that's even with an organic food, you're still going to have the low minerals in that.
Oh, Sarah, we lost you there.
Can you hear me now?
There you are, yeah.
Interesting. Well, I was going to say that, so even when we have the organic foods now, we're doing all the right things, we still may not have the nutrients and the minerals that we used to from those organic foods. And so I think even you can tell a difference between organic and not, but even the flavors have declined over the years in that regard. I have definitely noticed that.
Yeah, I totally agree, and that's a subjective experience, but for the most part, from what I can tell, food isn't tasting the same, nor is it carrying the same sort of mineral density or nutrient value that it once had. And that's a huge reason to go back to that question of, well, why can't I just eat more food? Well, you can do it, sure, I think that's great. Here's a simple question, though. Have you ever tried to juice your own apple juice, and maybe juice a liter or a gallon of apple juice?
Yes, that and carrots are the common ones for the basic juices.
And what does that cost you?
Good question. So it would just depend. It's probably, though, even when if you go buy a juice of pure juice, it's like $10 for just that juice. If you do it at home, it's probably 2 or 3, but that's just for the carrots and apples.
Yeah, exactly. Now, if you can go buy it, it's a lot less expensive, or it's more expensive to buy the actual food, the fruit products. For example, like the carrots or the vegetables or the fruit, the apples. Now, to buy those in the organic form, add at least another 30 to 40% markup on that. And what I found is trying to juice apple juice, for example, to make a gallon of apple juice would cost me, using organic apples, would cost around $15. Easily.
Plus, you have to clean that. Just kidding. I'll clean it for you, Michael. But you're also going to have to store it. It's not fresh right away because you just made a gallon. There's all these, and then after a day or two, you lose some of those minerals, or actually not the minerals probably, but some of the nutrients.
You lose the enzyme value, that's for sure. So right. the major issue that we've got there is that anybody that's looking to supplement these foods, if you want to do it, and you want to do it, I'll say the quote-unquote correct way, and use organic, materials, they're going to be tremendously expensive because you're not buying these things in bulk. You're buying them in, one-offs, a little bag of apples here and there. Well, it's going to be really expensive. So that ties back into Kyani, and one of the primary components of the Kyani Sunrise is based on blueberries. Now, these aren't normal blueberries. These are special blueberries. But it's interesting to read that one of the lead scientists in the Laboratory of Neuroscience at the USDA Research Center on aging says, when it comes to brain protection, there is nothing quite like blueberries. Call the blueberry the brainberry. And Kyani Sunrise is based upon wild Alaskan blueberries. The reason why is that, first of all, blueberries have the highest total antioxidant capacity per serving compared to more than 20 different varieties of fruits, vegetables, herbs, spices, including nuts and even dried fruits. It is way up there in terms of antioxidant capacity. Now, wild Alaskan blueberries have 10 times higher antioxidant levels than the normal blueberry. And one of the reasons for that is because the wild Alaskan blueberries get a tremendous amount of sunlight during their longer growing seasons in Alaska because of their longer daylight hours. Now, Kyani Sunrise is not just based upon blueberries. It also has 16 other ingredients. We have the acai berry, we've got grapeseed skin, we've got maki berry, we've got aronia, mangosteen, cranberry, pomegranate, red raspberry. We've got wolfberry, ginseng, ashwagandha, amla, aloe vera, kale, broccoli, I love kale, and spinach. And so when you look at all of those things, now start to think about your average shopping trip to your supermarket. You probably won't be able to find many of these things at a normal supermarket. Now you can go to like a Whole Foods, or I can't say that, but like a natural food or a whole space food grocery outlet or something like that, where you can buy organic ingredients and you can also buy some of these more exotic ingredients. But to buy a month's worth of this in the quantities that you need, that Kyani Sunrise is providing in a concentrate, that's going to be one expensive trip.
Also, though, I don't like a lot of those things. You love kale. I can't stand kale in my drink, but I love the ounce of this stuff. Another thing is that all those coming together, it actually tastes amazing. There's no one that's going to say, oh, I really don't like the taste of this. So somehow they're getting all that in there, and yet you don't have to taste any of the bad ones in there. I don't like ginseng. I don't like the flavor of that. I don't taste any of that, but I'm getting all the great effects of it.
Yeah, for the most part, you're not going to notice any of these ingredients on an individual basis because they're concentrates, and for the most part, you're going to notice a berry flavor.
Yeah, that's what I noticed with that blueberry for sure. And I also noticed before you get into this is a great slide because it kind of compares, you know, how Kyani compares to other products out there price-wise too, which is very helpful. But for me, just in a personal experience, going back to how you said, you know, diabetes would be an example of a lifestyle disease. I am one of those people that was sort of borderline. I don't have diabetes, but I'm one of the many, many Americans who are right on the borderline because of the addiction to sugar that we grew up with. And it's really hard to avoid that. And I'm not saying that Kyani is definitely the solution or anything like that, but I have noticed that the symptoms that come with just the blood sugar changes and being borderline diabetes, I have noticed that they've gone away, the thirstiness, the energy, but most importantly, and this is huge, Michael, it might go along with your coffee example earlier of people who are drinking coffee all the time, I feel like it takes away the cravings. So when I started doing this sunrise, I didn't crave sugar anymore. After about a week, maybe 2 weeks, that's part of it. It's making you lose that craving. Maybe people aren't craving coffee when they're on it, and then they're actually starting to have a lifestyle change, and Kyani kind of makes it easier to do that transition. Do you find that happening ever, Michael?
Yeah, certainly. That's actually psychological, and it's a biochemical. It's what's happening is called satiety. It's a satiation, feelings of fullness, and that's what happens when your body is getting the minerals and nutrients that it requires. So, you know, it's kind of like idiocracy, you know, drink Brondo because it's got electrolytes. Wow. We get these little messages in our head that say, you know, well, I need to have, you know, this breakfast cereal that's full of carbs to load up for the day. Great, do it. And then what happens? 2 hours later, you have a sugar crash. You're starving. And you're like, oh, I'm gonna get some coffee, and you go get, a latte or a frappuccino or something like that. And you get some more sugar and some caffeine, and so you're constantly putting your body through these ups and downs. And the biggest way to get around that is to figure out ways to manage your blood sugar levels. And a part of that is done through the blueberries and through the other ingredients that are in Kyani Sunrise. But more importantly, you're actually giving your body what it's searching for in those empty carbs and calories that you're consuming in most of the food that's out there.
Yeah, once you start feeling that balance just a little better, you want to keep, you want to have the healthy lifestyle. For me, that's always the big fight is I don't want to change. I want my Big Mac. But let me tell you, once I'm on the system, I don't really want it anymore. But I'm glad you brought up the slide because, of course, some people may be wondering, well, I've seen other superfoods or other similar antioxidant morning blends out there. Guaranteed most of them do not have such a pure, high quality, no fillers, all that in the ingredients. But also, that aside, how about pricing? How does it compare, Kyani, versus the others on the market?
Yeah, I mean, Kyani is extremely reasonable when you break it down on a daily basis. The other side of that is, what does it cost you to have illness and the poor health? What is the price of that? So you can look at it from the other way. If making that go away, there are three different ways of looking at it. One is preventative. One is addressing certain problems and that might occur, which is borderline preventative. But for you, it's like, if you're saying that you're borderline type 2 diabetes, you're right there on the verge. That's more than, you need more than preventative action. You need to seriously avoid that because diabetes is a serious health complication. Or if you're somebody that's had a long-term health complication, it's interesting. Look into the background of your health complication because many times they're related to those three things that the Kyani Health Triangle addresses: circulation, inflammation, and nutrition. You start to take care of those, and then suddenly, your health. It may not be suddenly, but I would say within the course of a few months, you might notice some dramatic health changes. So, I look at it more like an investment into your body. And when you look in terms of the bell-shaped curve, where Kyani prices fall, it's right there in the middle. Yeah, you can always go find something that's cheap. There's always something cheaper out there. But is it going to have the formulation that Kyani has? Is it going to have the quality that Kyani promises and delivers? And is it going to have the system that Kyani utilizes? And once again, we've broken this down into three different segments, but the third part of the Kyani Health Triangle that focuses on circulation, this is really the delivery mechanism that ties it all together. And I'm going to share a little preview here. Without ensuring that you've got 100% absorption of any of these other products that you might find, most of the time there have been medical doctors that have said vitamins equal nothing more than expensive fluorescent urine. So if you're not absorbing it, because one, it's synthetic, two, you don't have the circulation and the ability to open up your bloodstream and absorb these nutrients, then it's not going to do you any good. So right there, it goes back to, it's not a price objection, it's a how effective do you want this to be? It's like, do you want to have expensive fluorescent pee? Well, some people do because they'll save a few dollars. But in the long run, it really costs them money, and they're going to say, like I did, when they go without some supplements that they used to take or vitamins that they took for a while, you go without them and you don't really notice any difference, and you go, huh, why was I spending my money on that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is one of those things that if you just try it, and I'd say a good 30 days for the system to really to feel it in a full triangle. But anyone who tries it's going to feel better, and I really want everyone to feel what I have felt, especially we've talked about sunrise and sunset, and then there's that third one we'll be covering, and we'll talk about in a moment. First, though, why don't you tell us one more time what all of the perks are of sunrise, and then we'll give people information if they want to go get some on their own.
Yeah, definitely. The primary things that I've personally noticed is clarity. It enhances cognitive function, and it also supports immune systems. I rarely get sick, and when I do, the Kyani Sunrise is one of the first things that I go to. Same time, if I get injured, that's something that I also make sure that I'm dosing up on, so that I've got, you know, the molecular or the atomic materials necessary for my body to repair itself. And the major one that I think most North Americans need to pay attention to based upon their lifestyle and diets is blood sugar management. You do not want type 2 diabetes, especially when it is avoidable. It's a lifestyle disease in most cases. So, you know, use Kyani Sunrise as a preventative measure and use it to buffer your system. But more importantly than anything, it's a great way to deliver the nutrients that you're not getting, even though you may be spending a lot of money on organic foods. It's difficult to measure the actual mineral and nutrient quality. Part of that is factored into ORAC scores too, and we can get into that in a different show.
You know, if I were to add something to that list, Michael, it would be what that last thing I said about how it helps you to transition into a healthier lifestyle. If you're struggling with that in any part of the triangle, I feel like Kyani really does make it easy by curbing some of those cravings, whatever they may be. I'm adding that because that's how it worked for me, so it may work that way for others. I think next time we're going to be covering Nitro FX, right? Is that next?
Yeah, the Nitro FX and Nitro Extreme. So right now is your opportunity. Take action. Don't hesitate. Kyani offers a 30-day money-back guarantee. You've got no excuses. It's not about money. It's you know, it's $1 a day for each one of these ingredients, and you can afford it. It's really a matter of prevention and giving it an honest try. Give it the try. You don't like it, you've got a safeguard. Get your money back. I mean, it's really simple.
So if you want to learn more, it's right below you there. You can go to www.emeryempower.com. Thank you all for joining us today. It's always fun to do this with you, Michael. Thank you for including me.
Thank you, Sarah. Have a great day.
You too. Bye-bye.